So the only time I wouldn't work for somebody is if I didn't think I was the best person to help them. Then I'd put them in a position to be with the person that could best help them because I wasn't. Other than that, if I thought I could help you and I had the tools and whatever, then let's go.
You just rolled into the smartest small town in fitness. Welcome to Smittyville, where the trainers level up. Big reps, big vision, yeah, we're building it up. Smartest small town in fitness. Pull up, lean in, with Mayor Chris Smith and Chrissy Van. A podcast for personal trainers. Let's get to work.
You run gyms, but you're also heavily involved in the industry community. You were chairman at the HFA, for example, so you're privy to a lot of high-level conversations that are dominating the fitness industry right now. And for myself, in my day job, that's what I do day in, day out. And GLP-1s entered the conversation several years ago. They existed previous to that, but really mainstream conversation once Oprah in People magazine. And she was kind of the first to admit her participation for one reason. She's worked with Weight Watchers forever. How awkward when you've had one narrative and you need to switch, but they got in the game too. And point being from there, whether you're watching celebrity news or pop culture or not, there's nowhere you can walk even in the streets without seeing an ad for GLP-1. So why would it matter to personal trainers? Well, because it's bringing in new clientele into the gym. It's bringing clientele you already have that may be on it using as a participant in their health journey. So on a high level, what is a GLP-1?
Yeah, I mean, it's a prescribed medication that, again, was, originally medication that's been around a really long time, right? Originally designed for diabetes and those types of things of people with chronic, overweight and that kind of obesity and that sort of thing. And it was around forever, ever. And then celebrities kind of found it as a quick weight loss drug in terms of getting in shape or losing a bunch of weight dramatically for a part that they were going after. That was kind of the beginning of the craze. And then it's just kind of evolved to where it is now, back to then Oprah and the people and everything else. Originally, the fitness people, health wellness people in our sector were like, how's it going to impact our industry? You had some people saying, no, it'll have no impact, doesn't matter. And some people are like, oh my gosh, it's going to change everything and make our clubs like no one's going to come to the gyms anymore. Because again, at that point, the research wasn't necessarily, I wouldn't say it was available. I don't know if people are paying attention to all the research around muscle wasting and some of the other things that go into it, understand the importance of strength training. No one was really even talking about microdosing in the very beginning of it all, right? Which again, I'm going back, a few years now, but to like where we are today, which is, I think, yeah, certainly a much informed landscape. But yeah, it's a medication available to help people in their quote unquote weight loss journeys if, in my opinion, if other remedies are unavailable, aka self-discipline. Because can the same thing be achieved with self-discipline? Yes, it can. Does everyone have that level of self-discipline? Not necessarily. Is it just an opportunity to push the easy button? Yeah. Do I think you should? Me personally, introducing a foreign substance into your body without like as a first resort versus where am I at in kind of the spectrum of my kind of experience? I would just exercise some caution always when you're talking about putting foreign substances in your body. That's me.
I was no bones about it, super skeptical off the hop, but I use this example so many times in the B2B space, but to me, it's kind of the like Botox. And initially when Botox came out, nobody would admit that they were use Botox. They'd just be like, I have amazing skin and no wrinkles. And now Botox is part of your skincare routine. Nobody gives a fuck. And GLPs have had a really quick adoption like that, where initially people wouldn't want to admit I'm taking a GLP. Now it's part of the mainstream conversation. And it's an important one to have for the reason you highlighted in the middle of that. We know scientifically that it causes muscle waste. So you have people that are having incredible weight loss achievements and feeling great about that. But unfortunately, it's not just their fat loss. There's muscle loss there, and strength training now is more important than ever. The good news is the medical community is aware of this, and it seems like a lot of people that are working with good practitioners are recommending their patients to go and get exercise. But that means as a trainer, you're going to encounter individuals that are on these medications. So scope is something that we talk about a lot, but what is the trainer scope when you're working with individuals that are disclosing that they are on these medications?
It's understanding how the medications are impacting them. Again, we know there's a wide range of how these medications impact people in terms of nausea and sleep patterns and just soreness or having the chills, which I think we were talking about before we actually started shooting this. So there's just all these different kind of variables, right? So understanding kind of how they're experiencing it, I think could like back into how you're going to then program their program. Not, some load from a strength perspective, but even maybe more nutritionally, right? So when are we eating? How are we eating? Are we making sure we're balancing out our macronutrients and getting the right amount of protein, carbohydrates, and fat? That protein being, the real kind of key back to avoiding muscle wasting, especially when we're doing the strength training. Again, are we getting the right branched chain amino acids? Where are our protein sources? All those things matter in a big way, because you are going to be in a significant caloric deficit, because that's what the drug's doing. It's suppressing appetite in a way that you never thought was possible, right? Like that's at the end of the day what it's going to do. And so understanding that and then really kind of helping manage that and kind of, create an ecosystem that they can thrive in, I think is the key.
How big do you feel the opportunity is for trainers?
I think it'll open up more doors. And we still know that there's a barrier for a lot of people just around shame on going to a fitness facility because they don't feel like they're in shape to show up. Nothing's further from the truth, but getting that message across is something we've been fighting for decades, still trying to help open that door and just help people know that we're accessible and available to all peeps and all types and inclusive as you can be, right? And that's still something that we got to kind of continue to market and message and advertise as a community that, we're kind of here for everyone. But yeah, I think that there's lots of people that are needing help, wanting help. But like you mentioned earlier too, doctors are pushing people as part of their kind of prescription on you got to do some strength training and whatever else. I mean, the research even I still think it's like 6 weeks is kind of the minimum standard that you should be doing strength training before you start the GLP-1 products, just to avoid the muscle wasting. And again, particularly as women, right? Gaining lean body mass is very difficult to begin with. So if you give it away to get it back, isn't like, oh, I'll get it back. I'll just work out it's going to take years. If you go lose a bunch of muscle over the course of 6 months or a year, it'll take years to get that muscle back if you ever get it back.
Is it a good time you feel for trainers to expand their certifications? Because I know that there are specific certifications that have been coming out in this space. So do you think that that's a worthwhile endeavor because we are seeing the rapid adoption of this type of medication use?
I think if you want to. So I'd use the example of like, I had a lot of success in my career as a personal trainer, and I did a lot of strength training, a lot of Olympic lifting, and people would see that, and I'd have bodybuilders approach me and say, dude, I've seen you do some training. Like, I think I'd like to train with you. And I'm like, no. What do you mean? I'm like, I don't train bodybuilders. Like, what do you mean? I don't do shows. I don't do show prep. That's not what I do. But my guy, Adam here, who works with me at the gym, he's really good at that. And that's what he does. And that's like, he's an expert at that. Right. And so I think, again, you're going to need to be highly informed, and it's something you're going to have to invest time and energy to stay up on, because the science is ever changing. It's evolving, I think, just with research and whatnot. And it's not like all things are perfect. I mean, the reality is there's already, and this has been the case now for over a year, where there's class action lawsuits pending already. So I'm certainly not sitting here advocating like, hey, everyone should go get GLP-1. My personal opinion and stance has always been it's the right fit for some people. To say it's the right fit for all people that need to lose weight, I would disagree. Because again, I think self-discipline and just some other stuff can get you a long, long way. But it might be the case. But as we also know, for every dollar that gets spent on kind of exercise, wellness, whatever, it does save $8 long-term from a, healthcare expense. In some ways, this argument's a little bit inverse, where it's like, well, yeah, but now you're preventing it. Like, you're spending the money up front versus on the other side. It's what's that ratio? Because I do still think there's long-term health savings from a government perspective that are there as well.
Yeah.
Individuals, right? Because that should, over time, lower premiums, lower costs for insurance.
Yeah. And also improve health span. Like, the reality is, for some people, I think it comes down to if they were going to do it, they would have done it already. So it's kind of like, what's the lesser evil?
Well, now we're seeing the generic stuff, in Canada. We've seen all that with different Nova Nordic and all the different things that are going on there. We got the oral stuff that's really kind of now just going to mass market. So I think there's another wave coming.
Oh, without question.
With this oral stuff. And so I think that's going to be a game changer. A lot of people are like, so how does it work? Well, you take this needle and you do this and you jab it in you, and then you like...
And it's not a faint at heart.
For those people always saw the diabetics injecting themselves, like, what are they doing? Wow.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Well, and it's interesting too, just talking about some of the side effects that are coming up, because there was a study that just came out from UPenn, and they scraped all the Reddit data. So basically what the GLP community was talking about, what they were experiencing. And it was interesting. Food is such an enjoyment for so many people. We know that their reward receptors are dopamine hits. A lot of times it's from enjoying a meal. And a lot of people, basically their joy of life was muted because there's no food noise or anything like that. So I don't know. There's like interesting repercussions coming from it at the same time. But at the end of the day, if it's a gateway for somebody to be more confident, have better health outcomes in the long run, I don't know. I can't say like for or against. I'm much like you. I don't take any medications. I actually don't even take a single supplement.
Well, I take supplements. I do take my subs, and I take lots of vitamins and nutrients and try to balance out my micronutrients with my macronutrients.
I'm not advocating to be anti-supplement, by the way. I just have not had a routine in the morning in so long.
I got one, but I take mine at night. And even recently, like I did a bill of health and blood panel and all this stuff. And they're like, man, you're like, everything's like amazing. The sky's through the roof, except your cholesterol's a little high. And I'm 51 and I was eating bacon, sausage, and red meat every chance I got. And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense.
Like, that tracks.
You're not really needing it, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe we should put you on some of these, medications and statins or whatever. And I'm like, no. Like, well, yeah, but no. I'll just change my diet and work out better, which I did. And then I've lost 10 pounds in like the last, I don't know, this is pretty fresh, right? Like 6 or 8 weeks. So I'll just change my diet, change my exercise routine, which I have, and then see where that gets me. If that doesn't get me where I need to be, and then I need medication, then sure, I'll look at it. But like, I'm pretty sure if I stop eating sausage, bacon, and red meat all the time, which I have, and I've eaten a lot more fish.
I'm like, but bacon is so good.
I've had bacon a couple times, but not every day.
It's like bacon with an asterisk.
Yeah, I just can't eat bacon every day now. So,
That's fair. So if you've learned anything from this episode,
don't eat bacon every day, or when you're 51 years old, you might be told that you have a slightly high cholesterol.
There you go. Spreading the good word.
It's possible.
Let's head to the trainer circuit. Real questions, real situations. Chris shows up, listens, and mentors from experience.
Have you ever had an issue with a person in terms of personality when you were a personal trainer and now that you are a CEO?
I think if it's a job, right? I mean, you're looking for some type of synergy there. Like if you have a goal and I can help you get your goal, then I'm gonna help you get there. If there's a massive personality conflict, that's okay, right? But I think even part of today's society is a little bit different, right? So let's just say I've had clients that I would uncover that they had maybe massively different political views than I would have, which in today's thing, we love to live in extreme versions of that, far right and far left, versus like, I would take more of the approach like, what can I learn from that person? Why is it they believe what they believe? And we can maybe get into some casual conversations, and maybe I can use that as a way to seek to understand, to become a better version of myself. Versus going, well, because they're different than me, I don't want to train them. I don't think that makes sense. Like if I know I have the knowledge and the expertise to help you accomplish your goal in the safest, fastest, most effective way possible, that's my job. My job wasn't to agree with your political position. My job isn't to agree with your social belief system. My job is to help you accomplish your goal. So I'm going to do that. Now that being said, back to like clients, me as a trainer, and again, I was pretty good at it back in the day when I was doing it all the time, what I would also still believe in is like, I didn't train bodybuilders. Like I saw you guys in here having a flex off earlier. Was that just so we could establish that Cody has some of the smallest arms in the room? Or is that for something else? What? Bro, you got promoted. This is what happens when you get promoted. When you get promoted, you get picked on, Cody. Now you know. Yeah, he's like, dude, what the? Yeah, that's how it works. Did you win, by the way, the flex off?
There are no winners. We're all winners.
All right, we're all winners. I lost track because I was laughing at Cody too hard. So you came to me and like, bro, I see you're training this and that. I see you training. I really want to train with you. I'm like, I don't do competition. I don't do shows. I'm like, why not? I go, because I'm not an expert at it. Wasn't my background, wasn't my expertise, so I didn't have comfortability doing that, and I didn't feel like I could responsibly do that in a super professional way. So the only time I wouldn't work for somebody is if I didn't think I was the best person to help them. Then I'd put them in a position to be with the person that could best help them because I wasn't. Other than that, if I thought I could help you and I had the tools and whatever, then let's go.
Before we wrap, we'll leave you with a Smithism, a lesson Chris has picked up along the way.
I think what we've been talking about today, right, and I think it's been high level, and I didn't go too deep intentionally because it's not my place to do it, right? It's not my scope of work, and you were definitely digging in and asking the questions around what should trainers do and how should they behave. So again, if this is something you want to know, then readers are leaders. So if you want to be in your facility or in your community, you want to be a leader in this category on helping bridge the gap again, between the medical and the fitness community, if you will, and you want to be an advocate and help, then be informed, right? So readers are leaders. And so you're going to have to read/listen to podcasts.
That's today's Smithism. Chris Smith is the mayor of Smittyville, and I'm Chrissy Van, your town correspondent. This is the smartest small town in fitness. We'll see you back here every other week.